Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Elixir Specialty Coffee. Looks like whiskey, feels like tea, made from coffee, and unlike anything you've tasted before, Elixir is available at elixirspecialtycoffee.com. Use your code IMAPITFORWARD to receive 10% off of your first purchase today. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, we are talking about hiring, and in particular, the way that you hire and promote based on whether you hire on loyalty or whether you hire on merit. So this is a little carry on from my conversation yesterday with Phyllis on the podcast. And we talked a lot about this idea that do we as an industry need to look at making sure that we promote people based on their diversity? That was the wrong word to use. Do we hire people based on whether we need to fill quotas? So for example, if we have a predominantly male workforce, do we need to hire and promote based on somebody's gender? So should we look to fill positions with women if the team is predominantly male? And as the discussions that I've had over the last couple of years have evolved, I am coming to the belief, and I don't think this has changed necessarily. I've always had this opinion. I'm just more rooted in this opinion now. I never want us as an industry to hire or promote purely on somebody's skin color or gender. I never want that to be the case. And a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. I would love for us to be hiring and promoting based on skills. That doesn't mean that we can't be promoting or hiring for a particular gender. Aside from the fact that it's illegal to do that, you can't say, I'm not going to hire women. You can't say, I'm not going to hire men. What you can say is that I'm going to look to have a balanced team. And so if you have a position that's available and your team looks all white or your team looks all brown or whatever the terms are that we use these days, I would say find the best possible candidate that adds to the diversity of your team that will best serve your customer base. And I know that kind of sounds like I'm covering all of my bases there. But listen, when we have teams, if you have a more masculine, focused energy in a team. Now, notice I didn't say male. I said masculine. There are plenty of women out there who use a masculine leadership approach. There are plenty of men out there who use a feminine leadership approach. Or the way that they do their job is more masculine or feminine than the gender they identify with. Balance is what we're going for, because balance will serve you the best as a business owner. Balance will serve your business the best when it comes to the kind of customers that are invited into your business. So if the community that you have a cafe in, the community you own a green importing company for, the community that you sell your roasted coffee to, whether it's direct to consumer or whether it's wholesale. If your staff and the leadership of that staff are people that your customers can identify with, they're going to be more likely to want to be patrons of your business. The challenge there becomes, how do I find the best possible employees that represent the right kind of diversity that I'm looking for, which is a balanced kind of diversity. And that is a skill. Take it from me, I fucked it up many times. I have got it right a couple of times, and it's a constant learning process. Learning how to hire a balanced team is something that I have been very open about talking, discussing the challenges of. The one thing I know is that when I have purely hired based on wanting to hire an ethnic person, or wanting to purely hire a woman, or purely hire a man, whatever, if I was purely looking to hire based on insert minority group here, it never worked. Also, I tried to hire based on, well, I typically don't work with white people. Not because I don't work with white people, but purely because I've naturally tended to hire people that are like me, and I'm not an Anglo person. And we all tend to hire people that are like us. So I went out and thought, go diversity, I'm going to look at hiring more white people. And I fucked that up too. And it taught me, over the last 10 years of hiring people, it taught me that hiring based on someone's gender and hiring based on, no, let me say that better. Hiring purely based on gender and hiring purely based on race or sexual orientation or anything like that isn't a smart way to hire. Also, promoting based on loyalty versus promoting based on ability is becoming a hot topic in a lot of the conversations that I'm having around hiring with employers. So I'm somebody who promotes based on merit. And so it almost was left of field when someone said to me, I'm so sick of people expecting to get a pay rise purely because they've been working for me for a certain amount of time. And I found that a really interesting perspective, like that people would expect to get hired or get a raise purely because they had shown loyalty to a business. If you're expecting to get a raise, you should be expecting that raise based on increased performance year on year. You should be expecting that because you've contributed more value to the company, not the same value, more value to the company, then you should be promoted or you should receive an increase. But that goes back to an earlier podcast episode where we spoke of giving your employer every reason to give you a pay rise well before you've asked for a pay rise. So if you have gone to your employer and asked them, what do I need to do to get a pay rise 3 months ahead of the time you're anticipating getting a pay rise, you've done the work to deserve the pay rise. Awesome. But if you're expecting an employer to pay you more money purely because you stayed with their business for an extra year without doing anything extra to deserve a pay rise, I want you to ask yourself if you think that that's reasonable. Because if you haven't contributed anything extra this year than you contributed last year, why would you expect your employer to pay you more? The next episode of the Daily Coffee Pro, we're going to take that further. I was sent yesterday by a friend a study that actually was done out of Purdue University that talks about what happens when you pay more than the minimum wage. So this is like proper science around the consequence of paying people more and what time increments you should be using to pay people more money to get the maximum benefits for them and for you with regards to productivity. So stay tuned to the next episode of the Daily Coffee Pro to get a breakdown of that research as well as links to that research. I hope you found this interesting. No doubt there are going to be people who think that this is totally out of line, but there are also going to be people who think that this is in alignment with what they're saying. Either way, let me know what you think. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.